Aditya, please sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Aditya has done engineering and looking for civil services, mechanical engineering.
Yes, sir.
Mechanical engineering is not a part of the list of optionals.
It is an option, sir.
So why you had to shift to some other subject?
So I took philosophy for two simple reasons. One was my affinity towards spiritual studies and metaphysics, and because I was a regular reader of Bhagavad Gita as well. And secondly, the syllabus was very short as compared to mechanical engineering, so I opted for philosophy.
Okay, that's good. But you have not gone away from the engineering, I believe.
Yes, sir. I have switched completely my sides now, sir.
Now you are no longer an engineer.
No, sir. I'm working as a sub-inspector in state taxes department since
That I know,
2014.
that I know. But engineer remains with you.
So yes, sir. A little bit of engineering still remains with me.
Why you are apprehensive? Tell me, engineering, whatever you know, whatever skills you acquired, would be useful in the civil services?
Sir, there are two sets of skills which I have acquired while going through the engineering. And first is the skill set of a mechanical engineer, and second is honing my reasonable faculties, and that reason helps in every field, sir. And I feel it will help me in the civil services as well.
Okay, that's very good. You were also you were elected coordinator for mechanical department for 2 years. What were you
Yes,
doing in this?
Basically, sir, I was a gold medalist in my department, so I was the obvious choice for the students, and they asked me to step up, and I became a coordinator. And we had a committee of our college where we used to maintain the funds of student welfare and raise up issues regarding which concerns the students. So I was a member of that committee representing my department for first 2 years.
Okay, what way it impacted your personality,
Yes, sir.
this activity?
It did, sir. Because before that, I never took any role of leadership, and that was my first where I interacted with the college committee and college, even the society members who was running our college. So it was a very good experience. I learned a lot while passing through these 2 years.
Learned a lot. That is what I want to know.
So first thing, I was a very shy person. I couldn't speak much even in public debates or even in front of some seniors. I used to shy away because I was too much into my books and academics. So this thing gave me an opportunity, gave me some self-confidence that yes, I can take such roles also. I can talk to the people, I can communicate well. That is something which I can emphasize upon, which I have learned from this.
Okay, Aditya, tell me, you like to join the civil services. Other name is called bureaucracy. The perception in the public is not very encouraging. What should be done to improve the perception which exists in the society?
So I think it is always about information. What kind of information that is percolating to the people. So the information which they are getting is always negative, which happens through media, because whenever they know about bureaucracy, it is either through media or their personal interactions. And it is very unfortunate that even personal interactions have been very negative. So what we can do, we can improve the information system. Like nowadays, many deputy commissioners, newly recruit IAS officers, IPS officers, they are taking to social media to communicate directly to the people. They are becoming more and more accessible to the people so that public can directly approach them. They are bridging the gaps, because earlier India is a very poor country, and in rural areas even a police constable is something very big. So approaching a deputy commissioner directly or an SP, it is something unimaginable. If we can do this, if we can bridge the gap, I'm sure that this perception will surely change thereafter.
Okay. Or expediting the cases which are pending for taking decisions
Yes, sir.
on the
Surely.
disciplinary manners.
Yes, sir.
Matters.
That can be done.
Do you think the institution of Lokpal, which has come into existence, will make some dent?
So I think it will take some time, because any institution as a newer body will take some time to settle its roots, and it won't happen overnight. We already had many institutions earlier against corruption, ombudsman like Vigilance Commission, like anti-corruption bureaus, but it is said that Lokpal has much better authority and power, and they also have an investigative wings now. They can also prosecute. So it is a step forward, and with the passage of time, with different modifications and the judgments coming from the Supreme Courts, I think the anti-corruption ombudsman in India will deepen its roots, and it will change corruption at least at the lower level where people face the brunt the most. At that level, if you can change, I feel the perception will also change.
Prime Minister is also put under the purview of Lokpal, and also there are some safeguards laid down. If you can tell those safeguards to us.
So I'm unable to recall, but there are safeguards for the Prime Minister. As if one which I know is that entire Lokpal committee will sit down and they will take a unanimous decision. That if there is a unanimous decision, only then Prime Minister will be called upon for any investigations. This is I know, sir. That I cannot recall.
How do you see the Right to Information Act implemented in the country?
So it is a very good step forward, increasing the transparency, because the government is there for public service, and I feel the public should know what the government is doing, and public have every right to know, because it is the public who is paying the taxes. It is the public for which the government is there, and we should know what government is doing. So it is a very good step that it has empowered public. As we know, sir, in today's world we call knowledge and information is power, and empowerment is access to knowledge and information. So RTA has basically empowered the public by providing them access to that critical information.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Aditya, you have shown interest in Indian foreign policy. What do you think we should do in Afghanistan?
So the situation in Afghanistan is very volatile and very turbulent, and it is prudent at this moment that we shouldn't take sides and stay back and just watch the things happening, because nobody knows who will come to power, and taking sides will harm our interest in the Afghanistan in the long run. And the best policy would be like we did in Maldives. We sit back, we stayed, and we just watched the things getting unfolded, which was happening too quickly. So in Afghanistan also, I feel at this moment we shouldn't take sides, and we should stay neutral and let the things happen, and then come to the conclusion what can be done there.
Isn't the situation very different?
Sorry, sir, I'm unable.
Isn't the situation in Afghanistan very different from what it was in Maldives?
It is true, sir.
What are the differences?
In Afghanistan, sir, the regime over there, the government is definitely supportive of India. They are very close to
No.
In
When transition took place in 2018, after elections in Maldives, and transition is taking place now in Afghanistan, you said, like we did in Maldives, we should do the same thing. Let me be devil's advocate. We have invested more than $2 billion in Afghanistan. There is a potential adversary, proxy of potential adversary coming to power, likelihood of Taliban taking over. We didn't have that in Maldives. China was much further than India was. Here, Pakistan is next door. So the comparisons, to me, look a bit odd. Can we afford to wait forever? Perhaps in Maldives we could, but here, after 99 Kandahar episode, plane being hijacked and terrorists having to be released, can we just afford to do nothing and wait? Now
sir,
you tell me.
yes, sir. So in Afghanistan, I feel there is nobody in Afghanistan is in power right now, because Mr. Ashraf Ghani, his election has been challenged by his another leader, Mr. Abdullah. So we do not know even who leads the government, and secondly, Taliban is quickly taking over the power. But still, I feel that 60% of the region of Afghanistan is still under the control of the Kabul government, and Taliban may be very strong, but it still doesn't hold that much of the power in the northern regions. So we do not know who is in the power, because the deal which has been signed between US and Afghanistan is not a peace deal. It is only deal for the exit of United States. Until there is a power sharing arrangement in Afghanistan, which is Afghan led, I do not think we should take sides. But what I strongly feel that we should encourage all the stakeholders in Afghanistan to sit down and have a dialogue and resolve their issues for the betterment of the Afghan people. What I may have said in a wrong way, but I was trying to say that, sir, we shouldn't take sides. We shouldn't be siding with the Ashraf Ghani's government or with Abdullah or even with Taliban. We should stay neutral and try to encourage them to resolve their issues. Once that is done, we can look forward to building a relation with Afghanistan.
All right, we leave there and we move to mechanical engineering. Okay. Simple question. How do you see Make in India program?
So it was an ambitious effort by the government of India, but I don't think it has reached its desired objectives. It has not achieved yet because of the various
What were the objectives?
it was to encourage manufacturing in India, and the indices of IIP doesn't look much encouraging in my opinion. It has been very successful in certain fields like defense sector. We have collaboration with top defense manufacturer of the world, and apart from that, sir, we need a lot of reforms, and even global economic situation needs to be improved so that there is credible development in this field of Make in India. But effort is good, it hasn't reached its desired objectives as yet, sir.
Okay. Tax inspector.
Yes, sir.
Now, all over India there is widespread tax evasion, and your state is endemic for it. How much of your budget comes from your taxes?
So last year it was 8,050 crores, which
Those were the taxes.
yes, sir,
And what was the total budget of the state?
just 80,000 crores.
So 10% of your budget was contributed by the taxes of Jammu and Kashmir people.
It is true, sir. The J&K is not a state which is financially viable. We have been totally dependent upon central funds, and I was going through the salary bill of our state. It is around 21,000 crores, and our total revenues, tax and non-tax, even including the grants, it is around 21,000 crores, sir. So we cannot even 15,000 crores. We cannot even pay our own salary bills. So J&K is highly dependent upon the center, and which was reflected in the 15th Finance Commission's devolution report also.
What needs to be done?
So there are 2-3 things which we can do. First is to boost trade, tourism and industrialization of J&K. It is something which we are lacking a lot. J&K is called as the paradise on earth, but even if you compare with other states, J&K doesn't feature even in the top 10 of the international tourists who have visited India. So we don't even fall in the top 10. Himachal Pradesh is progressing too fast because they have attracted tourism, they have developed their infrastructure. Even
Anything else?
apart from that, sir, most important thing is security situation. If we improve that, everything will fall in line. And there are governance reforms which we need to take, and taxation related reforms already have been done, sir. GST, and recently, a few months ago, even toll tax was abolished. So I think government is doing its bit by simplifying the process of business.
Thank you.
Mr. Aditya, you were just talking about the security. So, after the division of the state into 2 union territories, do you think the security situation would improve?
Sir, I hope, because from last 5 to 10 years, the security grid of our security forces has been strengthened in the state, and we haven't seen the kind of violence which we had witnessed in early 1990s. And recently I was reading an article which was analyzing the violence rate which is going drastically down. Last year in the same month and to this year, the comparison is 67% of reduction in violence related to terrorism and even stone pelting. So I'm hopeful that things will improve with the improvement in and reforms in police, and by that I'm hopeful that things will improve surely.
Okay. You have taken philosophy as a subject.
Yes, sir.
So can you tell me what is the difference between the Western and Indian philosophy? Main difference?
So there are many, but with the most specific, which I call the pillar of Indian philosophy, is metaphysics.
Mm-hmm.
And the aim, except for few, like Charvaka, the aim in Indian philosophy is always moksha, liberation. Whereas in Western philosophy, it is the pursuit of truth or knowledge, epistemology, which dominates the Western philosophy.
So here it is a liberalism or
It is-
liberation in the Indian philosophy, where in the Western philosophy we talked about the existentialism,
Yes,
right?
true.
So how this existentialism and liberation are connected with Indian ethos?
So, in Western philosophy, there is a philosopher whose name is Heidegger.
Yeah.
He has said one thing. He said that we know about our existence only when we look towards our end, our death. Until we realize our death, we do not know that we have been living. So that is the value of life, which I feel is the most fundamentals, which falls on the fundamental ethos of Indian culture. Sir, we value life in every
Yes.
form.
Yes.
So
Okay.
this is how I feel, sir, and they are very much connected. Sir.
Okay. So here is the liberation. So what liberation emphasizes?
So liberation always emphasizes upon otherworldliness, that we shouldn't take birth again in this world in any form, and attain our infinitude. And that is very much possible by staying within the body, and that is also possible by getting out of this body. It depends upon which philosopher we are referring, sir.
In what respect the Indian philosophy is a safeguard from the materialism?
Sorry, sir, I am unable to.
Okay, no problem. In what respect it keeps away from the consumerism?
Yes, sir. Because the ultimate goal of human life is not enjoyment, because the purusharthas are there is four purusharthas: dharma, artha, and kama and moksha. So the ultimate is moksha. So we have to earn wealth, we have to do our duties, we have to live a family life, happy life in this world. We have to cooperate also, but we shouldn't, get astrayed by the lure of wealth and pleasure. So this is something which keeps us away from consumerism and materialism. And apart from that, sir, value of life. We value life. We do not kill living plants. We worship them. That is also which helps us to reduce this consumerism.
So do you believe that the progressivism of the philosophical approach and thoughts would be able to bring harmony in the society?
I believe so, sir.
Thank you.
Aditya, your interview is over.
Thank you, sir.